Hi everyone, it's Lindy on here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute little pop-up card using the Holtz side orders, and we're going to be using the winter and Christmas. But just a little note, if you stick around till the end, I'm going to show you another card I made with the autumn collection. So let's go ahead and get started on this Christmas one. So I'm going to start by using the Holtz Distress Mixed Media Heavy Stock. This is a cream colored cardstock in a very heavy weight. And I'm going to start by taking an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and cutting it in half. So this will be 5.5 by 8.5. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm flipping the tab over here on my We Are Memory Keepers score and trim board. And I'm grabbing the bone folder, which is stored down here at the bottom of the cutter. And I love this because it does both the cutting and scoring, and I'm going to go ahead and score that at 4 1/4. So this card will be 4 1/4 by 5.5. Now I'm going to grab that leftover piece, and I want the 8.5 by 11 side, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it at 2.5. So I'm flipping that tab over again so that it will do the cutting. And then I'm going to go ahead and slide that at the 2.5 inch mark and cut this. So it'll be 2.5 by 8.5. So now what I want to do is flip that tab over one more time and just get it so that I can use my scoreboard. And I'm going to go ahead and make my first score at 2 1/8. The second one will be at 4 1/4. And the last one is at 6 3/8. And what I love about this board is the markings are right on the ruler at the top, so you don't even have to think. It's all right there spelled out for you. So I'm going to take that panel and I'm going to fold it up towards me, and I'm just pressing out that crease. And then I'm going to take the two tabs on the side and fold them in towards the center. And now what that's going to do is form the shape of a W. And that center one will be popped up towards you. So it fits nicely in the card. And what you can do here is you can make this panel any width you want, as long as it's 8.5 inches long. And you can place it anywhere on the card that you want inside. So this is kind of fun because you can change up the design to whatever size images that you're using. So now I'm going to cut a little panel for the inside. It'll be 1 3/4 by 2 1/8. And I'm going to grab some pattern paper here from the Holtz paper stash. And I'm using the Christmas Noel Navidad set. And this has some beautiful papers in it. But I'm going to grab this one here with all the words on it. I love this one. I go to it a lot. I like that it's black and white and doesn't have a lot of color. It makes a nice base to start your designs with. So I'm just applying some Nouveau Deluxe adhesive to the back of each of these little panels, and that's going to leave me a little bit of a border all the way around each one of those. So I'm applying the last one here. And then I'm just going to fold this up just to make sure everything is still nice and flat. You do want to be careful when you're doing the inside of the card that it doesn't get too bulky. So now I'm going to take a piece of that pattern paper at 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm going to center that on the front of my card. And again, going back to the inside of the card, you know, I didn't pop anything up inside because I do want it to fold up fairly flat when I'm done. I mean, it will have a few layers, but I want it to be not too bulky inside. So think about that when you're designing the inside of the card. So now you can see those two match up nicely there. So now I'm grabbing another piece of cardstock, and I'm going to take my Sizzix Thinlits. And these are also by Holtz, and this is the Stacked Baroque die collection. I think these are really nice. These are great for guy cards too. I've used these before on some masculine cards, and they work really well. So now I'm just stacking these up here so you can see which sizes I selected. So I selected that smallest one for this inside the card, and then the second largest and the third largest ones for the outside of the card. So that largest of those three, I'm going to die cut that out of some gold metallic paper from the Tim Holtz metallic collection. And I'm going to run that through my machine. You'll notice here that I'm going to put a piece of scrap paper over the top of that. I like to put scrap paper over my metallic when I'm running them through because it helps to keep them from getting any of the markings from the plate on there. They can be kind of susceptible to picking up the markings. So now I'm going to grab all those 4 smaller ones, and I'm going to go ahead and ink those up with my Distress Ground Espresso Oxide ink. And I'm going to go around the edges so it'll be a little darker on the edges and a little lighter as you get towards the center. And then I'm also going to just go around the edges with the darkest of the color. And you can see how that looks there. So I've finished up all 4 of those. The next thing I'm going to do is grab my Distress sprayer. And this just has water in it. And I'm going to go ahead and spritz all 4 of those little panels. I'm going to grab a clean paper towel and just blot up that extra ink there. And it's going to leave this beautiful spatter effect on these little panels here. You can see how pretty that is. And I'm going to do the same exact thing for this larger panel that's going to be layered on the front of the card. A little bit darker on the edges and lighter in the center, and then a little extra ink around the edges there. I'm just applying it the darkest color on the edges. Again, I'm going to go ahead and spritz it, blotting up the ink, and you can see how pretty that looks. So now those panels are all set to be glued inside the card. I'm going back to my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I'm just going to apply that adhesive all over the back of all 4 of those panels and center those. So I'm just putting that last one in place. And now I'm going to go ahead and take the Sizzix Sidekick side orders from Tim Holtz, and you can see all these cute little designs. You get a word, you get the all these little designs, you get a little mini embossing folder with each one, and these all fit through your Sizzix Sidekick machine. So they're all sized to fit that. And with your Sidekick, you also get a little plate that allows you to do the embossing. So they're just so fun. They're great. I love the words that come with them. I think you get quite a bit of value for the money here. I think they're really nice. This is the winter collection, and this one here is the Christmas collection. But again, at the very end, I will show you the autumn collection if you stay till the end of the video here, which is also really pretty. So I'm just cutting these down to size just so that they will fit through my little Sidekick machine here. This is the machine, and you know I love this little guy. It clamps down on your table nice and secure, and all these little pieces will run right through. Now there are a lot of little pieces to each of these designs, so you do kind of want to keep them all together once you run it through. Maybe just to have a little cup for each one of these, or just pile them up separately, because there are a lot of little, you can see here, like the little eyes, the nose, the beard, all these little pieces. So just kind of set each of these little piles aside, and then we'll go to those later. And I ran each of those through. I'm going to start off with this cute little hat, and I'm going to grab the Spun Sugar Distress Oxide ink. I really just want to get that that top part of the hat there. I'm not worried about the pom-pom because I'm going to cover that with that little extra piece there. So I'm putting that spun sugar on, and then I'm going to grab the evergreen bow, and I'm going to apply that to the little cuff on the hat there. And also these three little panels, which make it look like a little knit cap. And they're a little hard to get a hold of, so I'm just using my tool pick here. You could color them if you prefer. I'm going to leave that little pom-pom white, so you could easily use your markers to color these in. I just thought it would be easier just to use the inks. Now I'm just going to assemble this little hat. These three little pieces go right on the hat here. Makes it look like a little knit cap here. And that last one, I'm just leaving it white, and I will put some glitter on that later. So you can see how cute that already looks. Now I thought what I would do is take number 847, which is a red. It's a red Tombow water-based marker, and I'm just applying little polka dots to that hat all over. I just wanted to bring a little bit of that red color in. And then I'm going to grab my Jelly Roll white gel pen, and I'm adding some little stitches down those three little panels. I thought it made it look a little bit more like a knit cap. And then I'm grabbing my Spectrum Noir crystal clear sparkle pen, and I'm going to just add some sparkle to that little pom-pom. And you can see how cute that thing is. It's just adorable. These are so fun. These are great for little gift tags, like Christmas gift tags. You could just do a whole bunch of these and put them on some little tags, and they would be good to go. And I found it fun and relaxing to assemble all these little pieces. I just think it's just a fun little project. This would be fun for kids to do too. You know, you could just get them all die cut and have them sit and assemble some for you. I mean, it's just fun. So now we're going to go ahead and take that evergreen bow again, and I'm just going to apply that to the little mitten overlay. And then I'm taking the barn door, and I'm going to do the whole bottom part of the mitten in the barn door. So that red will show through the green portion there. We're going to layer those two together. And you can see how cute that is also. These are so cute. And now I'm going to take the little cuff on the mitten there, and I'm leaving that white as well. You could also die cut these with sticky, double-sided sticky paper. Sizzix does make a nice paper. I didn't think of it, or I might have done it. It might have made this easier to layer these up. And now I'm going back with that Spectrum Noir pen and just adding a little sparkle to the white portions of the mitten. And you can see how cute that is. Now we're going to go ahead and do the snowflake. You get two pieces to this snowflake, which is nice. And for a tiny little snowflake, it's got a lot of detail. When you layer it up, you'll see how cute it is. So I wanted to do a couple different colors, kind of non-traditional, I guess. I'm using the shaded lilac. I'm going to do that on the smaller piece. And then for the larger snowflake, I'm going to use that ice spruce. These two colors look really nice together, I think. And that's going to layer one on top of the other there. So now I'm going back to my Jelly Roll white gel pen. I'm just trying to get in a little closer there so you can see what I'm doing. I'm not sure if you can see that really well, but I'm just adding a little dot of white to each of the tips of the snowflake and a few other little areas just to give it a little, again, just a little more interest, a little more depth. And a little bit to the center there. You can see it a little bit better when I bring it up close. So now I'm going to do the little snowman. And this one has a lot of little pieces, so really kind of like hang on to everything here. It's got a little scarf and a hat and his little arms. There's a lot to it. So I'm going to start with N15, which is just my black. Now I could have used my black oxide ink, but it was so tiny I just thought it might be easier just to grab my pen here and color it in. Now for these little pieces though, I did go to my inks. And I'm going to grab the Salty Ocean, and I'm going to do the scarf in the Salty Ocean. Then I'm using the ground espresso again just to do his little arms. And I'm going to glue those on. I'm just going to glue on the hat and the scarf here. Now there is these tiny little dots for his eyes. You could skip this and just use a black pen and, you know, color the eyes in. And there's also a little carrot nose here. I decided it'd be easier to put them on the snowman first and then grab my marker. This is 905, which is an orange color, and just use the detail tip at the end of the marker and just color it in while it was already on there. It was so tiny. I thought it would be easier this way. So this is the N15, which is the black, and I'm just using that bullet tip again just to do the eyes. And I'm also just going to draw in the little buttons. They do come with the die. They were just so tiny I thought it'd be easier to color them in. So there's your little snowman, and I added a little white gel pen to his eyes just for a little highlight. Now here's the little Santa. I'm going to take the barn door and do the top of his cap. Again, not worrying about the pom-pom because I'm going to leave that white, and there is a little piece there for that. I'm just going to glue on the little cuff on the hat and leave it in the white. And then again, the pom-pom is going to stay white. Then that piece just gets glued right onto the main part of it there, which is nice because you have a little guide to follow here. Now I should have colored his face in, and at the end you'll see that I did um, in the final photo, but I didn't do it here. I forgot. So later I went in and just took a peachy color, skin tone color pen and just colored in his face a little bit. But at this point, I'm gluing on the mustache. Then I'm going to glue on his little nose. You definitely need tweezers for this project. And I know it's hard to see here the white on white, but I'll try to show you it up close here in a minute. And I'm taking 723, which is a light pink color, just to do his little nose. And now I'm going to glue on his eyes. I skipped the little eyebrows. I just decided that this was enough detail. Now again, I'm coming in with my black Tombow marker and just coloring in his eyes. And the white gel pen just to add a little fleck of white in each of his eyes there. I did think it needed a little pink on his ears, but as I said before, later I did come in and added a little flesh tone color to his face there. Now I am going to add a little pink to his cheeks. And I'm using a Q-tip. I'm just dabbing it and pressing it on there, just to add a little bit of rosy cheeks there. I'm going back with the Spectrum Noir Sparkle Pen, and I'm just going to add a little glitter to the little fold on his cap and the little pom-pom. And I hope you can see it there, but he is just adorable. And look at how cute all these little pieces are. So now I did die cut out the word Noel. And I'm going to take the barn door and ink that up. And I've die cut 4 more of those in the white, and I'm just going to layer those together, and that's going to give me a nice thick embellishment. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that Spectrum Noir and add some sparkle to the top of that entire thing. So now I'm going to go ahead and start attaching all my little pieces here to the inside of the card. And they're going to be fairly flat. It's not too bulky inside. It has a little bit of extra layers here, so you could skip those if you wanted to. But I didn't think it was too bad. The card still folded up nicely, and you'll see that at the end here. So now let's work on the front. So I'm just going to layer that onto the gold panel, and I am going to use some photo mounting tape here just to give it a little bit more dimension on the front. So I'm adding some strips of the foam mounting tape. I'm adding enough just to make sure that it stays, that it doesn't collapse or anything, because we've got some layers going up on top of this. So I'm just centering it on that panel, and you can see how pretty that Baroque pattern is there. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to layer it one more time, just adding some nice chunks of the foam mounting tape there, and just centering it on the front of the card. So my little Santa is going to go on the front and the Noel, but I wanted to add some greenery. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Sizzix Thinlits, again from Tim Holtz, and I'm going to take that one there from the Holiday Green set, the one that has the ivy leaves on it. I hope I'm saying that right, but those kind of pointy tipped leaves there. And I'm starting off with the Evergreen Bough ink, and I'm just going to ink up all of those little leaves there. And I'm not being fussy, I'm just applying a light coat to start with here. And they are kind of delicate, so you sort of want to dab it on. And then I'm going to grab the Lucky Clover, and I'm just going to apply some more ink just sort of to the sides. So kind of half of it is darker and half of it is a little lighter. And then I'm going to take the ground espresso and I'm going to apply that to the stem. And I'm not being fussy. I don't mind if a little bit of that ink gets on some of the leaves. I kind of like that, to be honest. I think it gives a nice effect to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the Evergreen Bough again and just kind of pounce that on and just kind of blend all that together. Again, you don't want to do too much pulling on it. They are kind of delicate and you don't want to tear them. So I'm just kind of pouncing that ink on and just blending it out a little bit there. You can see how pretty those are. So now I want to just give those a little bit of shape. So I'm taking my little sculpting mat here. These are the tools from Sizzix. And these are all your sculpting tools, and you do get the 3. And you get that foam mat to do the sculpting. And these all have different tips on them. But I'm going to grab that one that has the pointy tip, and it kind of has a little curve to it. And I'm just going to apply some pressure here and create the little lines on these leaves. And I'm not sure what causes it, but when you put the metal against this ink, this oxide ink, it does leave kind of a dark mark on there. I thought maybe my tool wasn't clean, but I cleaned it off, and it still leaves this nice little dark mark with marking on the leaves, which I love. It almost looks like you took a pen and drew it in. And I've tried it on other things and it does the same exact thing. So I don't know if it's the oxide ink reacting to the metal or what happens there, but it looks really good. So you can see I've got those 2 done, and it gives it a lot of dimension. It kind of brings them to life a little bit here. So I want to place those off to the left-hand side of that panel. But I decided first that I would place this pop-up portion inside the card. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. Again, you can position this anywhere on the card you want, up towards the top, in the center. You'll see on the card at the end, the thanks card, I placed it in the center and I have it turned the other way. I will show you that later. But for now, I just kind of decided to put it a little bit up towards the top of the card here, so that I would still have room at the bottom to put my saying and then to sign the card as well. And you just want to make sure that those panels are lined up right with the edge of the card, and you're only putting glue on that panel there, just the end panel on each side. And I'm putting enough adhesive to make sure this doesn't move around. Now you could lay the card flat and then fold it closed, but I just decided to bring it to the opposite side and glue it in place. And you want to make sure you let that dry really well. And then just double check that everything is lined up perfectly with the edges of your card, and you can see what a cute little pop-up that makes. And the possibilities really are endless for this, and it's so easy to do. And it adds a lot of, I don't know, just adds a lot of interest to the card, I think. So let's go ahead now and finish up the front here. So I'm going to take the leaves that I did, and I'm going to just put glue down the center of those, just kind of down that stem. And a little tiny bit on the base of the leaves so that they don't tear. I don't want to glue them down completely because then they would be flat, and I want that dimension. Now I'm going to grab the second one. I'm just cutting that little end off of it, and then I'm just applying a little ink so that it's not white at the tip there. And I'm going to just kind of shift that down a little bit and place that over the other one. Just to fill in the gaps a little bit there. And now I want to put that Noel right over everything there, and I'm just going to glue it down, adding plenty of glue here. I'm just going to press that in place. And now for my little Santa face, I decided that I would pop that up a little bit. It just seemed like it got a little bit lost back there, so I'm just popping that up. And you can see how cute that is. So now for the inside, I took that paper again with the words, and I just cut out what I like. There's plenty of choices in there. I just grabbed the Merry Christmas, just cut it out with my scissors, and I'm just positioning it on some gold cardstock just to frame it up a little bit. I'm grabbing my Tim Holtz tonic trimmer to trim that. And I'm just going to leave a border of the gold metallic all the way around. And I'm going to center that on the right hand side of the card, kind of between those two panels. And like I said, the words, you have lots of choices of words, so pick whatever you like there. And you can see the finished card has a lot of dimension and a lot of color. And at the very end, I'll show you the picture. I did add some red berries to the front of the card with my Nuvo crystal drops, and I used the red berry color to do that. So there's the photo of the card, and you can see the berries on there and how pretty. They do add a little bit extra something to it. But it's a quick and easy card. I mean, doing the side orders is a little detailed, but the pop-up portion of the card is so easy. Now here's the one I talked about, the Sidekick side order. And you can see you get the acorn, the pumpkin, the leaves, and the word thanks. And also an embossing folder that has kind of like a grungy stripe to it, which I really like. And this is the autumn one from the autumn collection. And this is the card I made. I used Tim's 3D embossing folder, the wood grain, and I also used some of his collage papers. And I die cut the thanks again multiple times, and I used some greenery from that same set of the greenery we used before. And you can see here that I turn the card on its side, so it still pops up, but it's just going in the opposite direction. So really the same concept with using just a different set of the side orders. And I also wanted to mention that in order to attach the decoupage paper, which is a very thin paper, I used the Sizzix adhesive sheets. They come in a 6x6 pack, and they're permanent adhesive. It made it a lot easier to attach that rather than trying to glue them down. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at pinkwhisperdesigns.com. Thanks so much. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.